Hey guys, good evening and welcome once more to the big debate, where we'll be discussing the ongoing African Nations Cup taking place in Cameroon. Today we'll be focusing our attention on the semi-final. So at the start of the competition, 24 teams came to Cameroon to play this tournament. Now we only have 4 teams left. And on the CAF website, on their Twitter page, they have this, and the guys where the weight of the glory of the individual nations lie on their shoulders. So you have Burkina Faso, you have Senegal, you have Cameroon, and you have Egypt. So with me in the studio to discuss the semi-finals fixtures tomorrow, as well as a head-on between the West African Derby and the Old Classico, as described by one Cameroon newspaper, which is between Cameroon and Egypt. Maitre, Bechem, Ebini. Good evening, Maitre, Ebini, and welcome to the big debate.
Good evening, Dr. T, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure always having you here, and you always create time to join us to discuss football. Thank you for joining, and I love your insights. Also with me today and to accompany Maitre Bechem is the legendary True Lion. Good evening, True Lion, and you are on mute before you start talking.
Yes, good evening, guys. It's always a pleasure talking football, and I look forward to these encounters.
Okay, great. Thank you for having you all. I'll put you guys on this order today. So we have two more games for every team wishing to win this trophy. So you have the semi-finals, which are starting tomorrow, and the final game, which will take place on Sunday. So now for every team out there, you just have to win 2 games and you are the champions on Sunday night. So guys, let's start with the first game. So for those who don't know the matchup, so this is the semi-finals schedule. So tomorrow, Wednesday, we have the game between Burkina Faso and Senegal taking place in Douala. And on Thursday, my apologies there, it's supposed to be Thursday, it will be the game between Cameroon and Egypt taking place in the Olembe Stadium in Yaoundé. So, Maitre Ebini, let me start with you. Let's start with the first game, the game taking place tomorrow between Burkina Faso and Senegal. So, tell me what you expect from both teams.
Well, thank you, Dr. T. At this point, it's redundant to say that it's going to be a difficult game, because it is a semi-finals. Definitely, two West African countries going head to head. And when I look at the two teams, I kind of have the opinion that Burkina Faso looks like a better team. And you cannot talk about the Burkina Faso team without referencing their first game against Cameroon. They showed some solidity at the back, though they were sloppy. They made a couple of mistakes. Their midfield was great. They have the likes of Toure, who was the man of the match in the last game, and also Guiara, two people who can actually defend and they can also give that killer pass. And their attack line for me is the best so far in the tournament. Yeah, that's Toure you have on your screen there. Their attack line is the best in the tournament. I know before they played Tunisia, I highlighted the fact that Bechem Traore is the man to look after. And we all realized that, hey, Bechem Traore was injured and they had a four front men whom I think were magnificent, both in the way they control the ball and in the way they make their runs. You have the like of Siri Bahela, Jibri Watara, and Dango Watara, who actually scored and then got the red card. Dango is not going to play tomorrow, but watch out, Bertrand Traore is coming. And if you have that same four front line, so three of them now with Bertrand Traore, that team can kill any team. They have the pace and they have the ball control. I know my friend Trolayon will say they don't have a finisher, but I can tell you Jibrit Traore is a good finisher. If he got the service, Trolayon will say feed the beast. If you feed him, he's going to score. That notwithstanding, it's not going to be an easy game because we know for a fact that the Senegalese team, man for man, probably have the best players. Among all the teams that are left, so they have a very good goalkeeper from Chelsea, who is FIFA's #1. So that in itself gives you that confidence at the back. They have Koulibaly there and Diallo. As you know, Koulibaly has been on the news for the past 3 years, transfer news, either going to Man City or going to Chelsea or going to United. That tells you that he is a defender with credibility and with so much credentials. So that central defense is solid. However, I have issues with their midfield. Their coach, again, is naive. I've mentioned this for the past 2 games. Some will say, oh, they've scored 3 goals. But I have issues with that midfield. Creativity is zero in that midfield. If the coach can maybe drop one of the midfielders and look for a creative player to play, so you play 4-2-4. So you have 2 holding midfielders and 1 midfielder who has that ability to control the ball, and then play with your top 3. I know that they have 2 excellent wingers. I think one of the best. They have the best wingers in this tournament, right?
Yeah, so that's Mane on the left and Sarr on the right. They fit
Mane
against
on the left and Ismail Sarr on the left. Yes.
Yeah.
If you play those 2 people, like True Lion will tell you, they are very direct. Mane, I know he can drift into the middle, play that pass, also get that ball control. So it's going to be a difficult game. But if you ask my prediction, I think Mali is going to. Burkina Faso is going to go 1-0.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I have a few questions for you, but I'll keep that for later. I want to get True Lion's opinion and his preview of this game before we go into the back and forth about how both teams will play and the midfield, especially for Senegal. Yeah, so True Lion.
Yeah, I think Ismail Sarr and Mane have to come out huge because Burkina Faso, they are very tough defensively in the middle. However, if you go through the wings with the speed and direct play that Mane and Ismail Sarr bring to their game, it will be actually very difficult for them. I do agree with when Bechem actually says that Burkina Faso has the better team, which means the chemistry, tactical approach is actually better because as you know, I've always been criticizing Cisse. I don't think Cisse has gotten this Senegalese team that actually lost in the last African Nations finals. I don't think they have progressed, but they have the players. If you go man for man, as earlier said, you will see that they have the players. And as if you all watched interview given by Mane, he actually said it word for word that they are here to win this tournament and nothing is going to hold them. So I expect to see that they come out tomorrow with that, with that type of attitude. However, their midfield has to work a lot more harder because when I look at what Equatorial Guinea did to them in the midfield at a certain point, I believe that Burkina Faso has that stamina.
Oh yeah,
yes. And if Burkina Faso manage to score an early goal, it's going to be difficult because if you see this Burkina Faso team, the way they played Cameroon, had it not been for those 2 cheap penalties given,
that's true.
And now everybody has gone better. They've grown with more, and they have Tapsoba. They have some good defensive players who is back. So although yes, I believe that Senegal is going to win because the injury issues that they had from the beginning, I just believe that, and it's a team that actually picked to go to the and maybe win it all. So I will stick with Senegal. I will stick with Senegal. I believe that they will come out and give Burkina Faso a game. But for them to be able to do that, they have to come out with that attitude because it's not going to fall on their lap. It's not going to fall on your lap. It's going to be 90 minutes of football.
So I like that you guys disagree as to who will win the tournament. But like one of the things that
the game.
The game. My apologies, the game. But one of the things that you guys agreed on is the midfield of Senegal. There needs to be an improvement. Okay, so what should be the improvement? We watched Senegal the last game. I think most of you guys mentioned that during our last the post-match analysis that Mendy and Idris Ghana playing is not a very good pair, and so maybe if he brings in Sheku Kouyaté, who was a late sub and came in and scored, it might probably help. And he is a utility man. He can play central defense. He can play defensive midfield. And he's one of those who can also run like box to box.
So my suggestion would be for the coach to actually play Kouyaté and Ghana and as 2 holding. So when Ghana and then play a creative player ahead of the 2 of them. So you have 3 in the front, 3 forward players, and then 1 like a half 9 who has that ability to go past players and also give a good pass. With Ghana and Koyate, you have that stability. Koyate has that ability for Mane to drop. I'm sorry, for Ghana to drop back while they are in possession, and then Koyate can make that long run, which can easily create space for a decor for for other players to attack. So once you do that, you create that stability. But I don't think
Cisse?
Yeah, Cisse is going to do that. And for some reason, he prefers Mendy. Whom I think.
But I was going to ask you that question, but Mendy was like the man of the match last game. How do you expect him to drop him?
And I'm going to say this also.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to say this also. I think Kouyaté is not young anymore. If you look at Burkina Faso squad, they are young guys. They can run 90 minutes the whole day. You know, so I see him is going to play Ghana and maybe Mendy. Mendy is going to start, because I don't think the problem is the personnel. The problem was his tactical approach.
His tactics, yeah.
Yes, it's not necessarily the personnel. And nowadays, it's really hard to see real gifted players play like in the midfield. You know, everybody that's gifted that can be a playmaker plays maybe on the wing. Mane has to do better. He has to maybe run better and maybe jump into the midfield and trying to control, you know, the game also as well. So he has to maybe come inside and make some runs. So
Mane did that in the last game. If you notice, the first goal, he actually gave that pass from around the center. You see, he drifts in from time to time. But unlike the Guinea game, in which when he went into the middle, it was easy for him to play. In this game, it's not going to be easy. You have two midfielders in that Burkina team who are very solid. You have Tapsoba in the back there, who is very solid, who actually reminds me of Matthias Zama, who played for Dortmund and Germany in the mid-90s, because he has the ability to actually control the ball, and also he has that vision to align his players where.
But that's why I said that Senegal has to attack the wings, because they have players that can attack the wings. Mane you see what he did in the last game. He can take 2-3 players easily, you know, and all they need is that presence in the middle, in the like a center forward in order to score. So I think Senegal is going to attack the wings.
Yeah, which is something I want us to talk just a little bit about before we start talking about the next game. So True Lion, I think you just mentioned that now, and then when in your initial discussion you mentioned that Senegal needs to exploit the wings, and they have speed in the wings. And Bechem, you also mentioned that they have speed in the wings in Sarr and Mane. And going back to the first game of this competition, that is something Cameroon exploited, especially the left side. And Burkina Faso again made some True Lion called them cheap penalties, but I think those were monumental mistakes. And one actually happened in the last game. It should have been a penalty. So they can easily make that mistake. With a player like Mane, you are going to shoot yourself on the foot if you come tackling that way.
Yeah, but the problem is that Mane doesn't play in the box that much. See, he has that duty of going out. That's why I say that they need a center forward that needs to occupy Tapsoba and make them come out, because the truth is that at one point you see maybe Burkina Faso defending with 5 men, so there's not going to be a lot of space in there. So you have to try to pull out some of those defenders with good presence in that center forward, and then it will create space maybe for Ismail Sarr to run into, or Mane, or maybe for another midfielder that's coming to run into that position.
Okay, fantastic. So Bechem says he thinks Burkina Faso will win. You think Senegal will win. I'm going to be cheap here. I think Burkina Faso will win. That's just because I want Cameroon to meet an easier opponent in the finals. So that's how I'm thinking. Yeah. I preferably easier. I prefer Burkina Faso than Senegal in the final. So that's how I'm thinking at it. So now let's talk about the second game. So that is a game that has been described as the El Clasico of the tournament by this Cameroon newspaper, L'Intégration. So always when Cameroon meets Egypt, it's a very, very big encounter. And Cameroon played Egypt 4 or 5 years ago in 2017 in the finals of the African Cup of Nations. I also recall in 1986, Cameroon also played Egypt in the finals in a game that ended in penalty shootout, and that competition was hosted by Egypt. Egypt went on to win the competition because that was the final game.
2008 also.
Sorry?
2008 as well.
Yeah, in 2008, yeah, Egypt won the game 1-0 due to a monumental mistake. That is I call that mistake. I wouldn't say
Calamity song.
I would say suicide. Yeah, suicide mission, like by the legendary defender Song Bahana, which maybe ended his career on a low, because that should never happen to anyone. So let's talk about this game. True Lion, I will start with you. Cameroon versus Egypt. Tell me, I noticed on your Facebook timeline you had made some predictions on how these teams are rivals. So,
well, of course, it's going to be a difficult game. Cameroon will need to adjust. I see a lot of people talking about how Cameroon will win. However, if they want to win, they will need to make some adjustment. Cameroon is not a team that shoots from afar. If you watch it,
true.
The only player that is shooting from afar is Abubakar.
And Fai.
In order, Fai had one shot from afar. In order to pull the defense out, sometimes you have to shoot from afar, because if they are defending like deep and if they are close, so you have to, when you kick that shot from afar, it will make maybe defenders come out to try to block it, and then it will create space maybe where if the ball rebounds or a player can run in and exploit that defense. Another thing, it's the formation. I mean, the coach. I know most of you guys have said, okay, the style that came out one last game, but you forget that there was the Gambia. The Gambia did not pose any threat offensively when they played against Cameroon. Egypt is going to be a different story. So you come up with the same players, 3 holding midfielders. It means your creativity is gone. You don't have any creativity. Okay. So my thought, I'm not a coach, but I'm just thinking, wow. If Basungok can play 50 minutes, why not start Basungok? Because Basungok is a player where he can go one-on-one, he can pull 2 defenders, then he can create spaces. Because at some time of the game, if you remember, Cameroon, Tunisia, Cameroon, Argentina, just the fact that it faded, the late faded,
yeah,
it made the Argentinians panic. Okay, we have to take off this guy. So if you bring in a guy that Egypt is not prepared for, Basingok, he dribbles. But my problem is he has to now defend better and maybe pass. So he has 50 minutes in his. I mean, you try to change something, or maybe we see Choupo-Moting coming back, because it's gonna be very, very essential that Cameroon poses questions to Egypt, that Egypt can start looking for the answer to those questions. If Egypt grows comfortable and starts playing football the way they did against Morocco, you're gonna have players like El Nani playing high. You don't want El Nani playing high. You want him playing deep and making mistakes from deep. When El Nani played hard, remember, he scored a goal in 2017, the first goal.
Yes. Yeah, in the finals.
Because no one took care of him. Because when he plays high, he gets confidence. Man, when he plays low, he knows he has defensive duties.
Yeah.
And then he starts thinking. So I think Cameroon has to change their approach to this game.
Okay, yeah. Maitre, Ebini, you have preview before I have a few questions to pose to you guys later.
Okay, so this game, historically, like they used to talk about Italy, Germany, like the 2 favorites in Europe. This game is like Italy, Germany in Africa, and it's definitely not going to be an easy game. But I think Egypt has a very good team, not because they have the best players, but they have that cohesion. They can stick together. We saw that in the last game, despite the fact that Hegazi came out. They brought in a striker, but the defense was very solid. This team can grind you and get a goal, and then that's it. But I see a Cameroon team too, which I think if we stick to the lineup that we use against the Gambia, I know Trolayo will say, "Oh, that was the Gambia." But if you notice, Ngabalo had that free role. He was running here and there, which meant that Abubakar and Toko could stay there without having to drop, thereby holding the defense, holding that defense line right back, and then it makes it difficult for them to attack us. True, this is Egypt, but if we adopt that approach, we'll probably push the Egyptian defense back, which means El Nini and the midfield will actually go back a little bit. Now, it's going to make it difficult for them to transition for the Salahs. Salah definitely needs support, So if we play that way, wherein our 2 striker side play very high and they're not dropping back, we're going to get advantage in this game. And I doubt our coach. I mean, it's no secret. I just feel like he's not the right person for the job. And but again, if we just try to keep us, let's attack this game. Don't forget, we're playing with 12 players here. So if we attack this game and we have that support Nolembe behind us, trust me, we can easily get a goal, and then it's going to make it very difficult. But Egypt scores first. Believe me, these people can grind a game. I saw that against Morocco, and you saw that in the other game. They have a very strong, solid defense, and they can grind you and get 1-0, and before you know they have. But I predict Cameroon is going to win 2-1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me say this. Let me say this why I disagree with Maitre. If Egypt score first, I think it's even better for Cameroon, because then Cameroon knows they have to work 90 minutes. They have to work hard. If you say two,
but this team has not proved that. I mean, they haven't proven that they can work hard.
I'm not finished. Then you say our two strikers have to stay high. If those guys stay high, then they are toast. They are finished, because we need people, especially on the flank where Tolo is playing. Okay, whoever plays in front of Tolo knows that he has to come and do defensive duties. If it's Toko, it can be. If it's Ngamele, they have to fall back and do defensive duties, because Mo Salah is not a player that you can let one-on-one. Oh no, that wouldn't happen. And also, if Cameroon is playing a high defense, Mo Salah has all that space to run into. He's a very smart guy. He's a clever guy.
Yeah.
Nigeria. Let me finish.
If you notice in our last game, out of possession, we play with 3 at the back when we're out of possession. Then in possession, we play. So if we play 3 at the back out of possession, then we have what's his name? The guy who plays for Toronto.
Tolo, he plays for Seattle.
Tolo, Seattle, sorry, for Seattle. Yes. So he's gonna stay. If they play 3 at the back, he becomes one of the 3 center defenders. Now we have the freedom.
No, bro. No, bro. I mean, if you want to play 3 at the back, then just come out with 3 central defenders. You can come out with, what's the other guy's name? Is it Onana?
Ongene.
You can come with 3 central defenders. So you're gonna play 3, then you're gonna play 5 and 4, maybe high in the midfield, and that's the formation. But you have to have the players that can play that. You have to get the time to be able to train that formation.
To train that formation, because if you don't have the right players playing what they know, or if you have not planned to train to play that way, Egypt's gonna kill you. The reason I'm saying that players cannot stay up that high against a player like Mo Salah is because all 10 players need to be behind the ball when Egypt is actually present.
But True Lion,
that's what Gambia was doing, and you said they weren't playing.
No, but Gambia, but Dr. T, you're talking about Gambia. We are not playing Gambia.
I know.
We are not talking about Gambia.
Okay, yeah, I understand. Okay, so there's something I want to ask you guys. You mentioned that playing with the same midfield like they did last game may not be a good idea, or might be suicide mission, because all 3 guys are defensive midfielders. Okay. I don't want to talk about what's happening in the competition. But is Anguissa a defensive midfielder? I've never known him as a defensive midfielder.
Whoa.
Anguissa, I always knew him like someone who plays like a number 8.
Yeah, but he's box to box, and don't look at him at Napoli, because at Napoli he plays with very tactical players around him. That's the difference. But in the national team, if you want Anguissa to be giving passes that Choupo-Moting, or to be able to hold the ball, you saw what happened even against Gambia. When he tried to hold the ball and beat players, what happened? He lost the ball. Okay, you don't want Anguissa to be given that responsibility of being a playmaker. He's gonna make mistakes, and you're gonna get punished.
But True Lion, Anguissa wasn't the playmaker in the last game. I think the playmaker was Gemalo, who was playing in the left play, in the right play, in the middle. He had that freedom because we actually play with 2 strikers. Toko wasn't playing on the flanks. Toko actually played as a double striker.
But that was not the question. That was not the question. Dr. T's question was that about the 3 holding midfielders. He was not midfielders. Namalo is not a holding midfielder.
Yeah. Okay. So
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That if we play with that same system, it gives him that freedom. Now he becomes the man that is difficult to track. Then we play like one.
But Bechem, he will also have a defensive duty. He will have a defensive duty against Egypt. I'm talking about, because the game against Egypt is gonna be 1-on-1. You have your player.
Yes.
I have my player. Then you're gonna help on Mo Salah. You have to help on Mo Salah. So that's the one I'm talking. So those guys holding midfielder. If Cameroon could play the 3-5-2, I think that would be the best formation, because you have 3 central defenders that will play tied to each other. Then you have Fai and Tolo that can bring help in offense and come back also and defend.
Okay, so if you are going to play with 3 central defenders, so you're either going to lose one midfielder or one striker. So would you think? Okay, so tell me a hypothetical 3-5-2 or 3-5-1 lineup.
3-5-2. Okay, yeah. If I give you a 3-5-2, I bring in Ongene, Castillo, and Gado. Those are the central defenders, right? Tolo,
yes,
he plays as a wing
on the left side.
Fai plays on the right side. Then you have Anguissa and Hongla doing your holding for you. You know, they're sitting. You know,
okay.
Then Anguissa can actually help going forward as well. Then you have Choupo-Moting playing. It's a triangle. It's like a diamond, right? So
okay, so Choupo-Moting will be playing there as a midfielder as well.
Yes, on top.
On top, okay.
Behind the strikers, yes.
Exactly. Or if you don't have Choupo-Moting, then that's when maybe you're gonna play Toko. It can be there, and then you bring a Basungok that can actually create from the wings. Then you have Ngamelo and Abubakar to finish.
No, True Lion. I disagree in part with you, True Lion. For me, when you play Hongla and Anguissa in that midfield, ahead of them should be Ngamelo, because he has that he can run, play in the wing, play in the middle, and go that way. Then we have and go on the left and right. Then we have 2 strikers. So you're playing more or less a 3-4 3-5-2.
No, but
so the 2 strikers are there. The 2 strikers are there. If you play with 2 strikers, it's gonna make whoever is a holding midfielder will have that, for Egypt, will have that responsibility to stay back. So you're pushing them back.
But the point is that if you put Ngamelo in the midfield to be playing the job of a certain Choupo-Moting, he cannot pass the ball like Choupo-Moting, because when you put a playmaker like Choupo-Moting on top of the triangle, it's because he has that elusiveness to find little pockets of spaces. He can play in tight areas.
Ngamelo did that. Ngamelo did that in the last game. No, you the Gambia.
No. This guy's talking about Gambia.
He did that in the last game.
So he's going to make the excuse that it's Gambia, right?
I know he's going to say that, but trust me. Apart from the goals that Toko scored, Ngamelo was a man of the match. He was a man of the match in that game.
Playing down the
outside
wings.
The goals that Toko scored.
Playing down the wings. He's playing down the wings. When you play central, right? Let me tell you something. When you play central, it's different than playing from the wings. When you play from the wings, you are actually hogging the lines and you can see the field. But when you play central, your players are around you. So it's about your ball, your handling of the ball, and the passes that you make.
Okay, so let me tell you guys what I think. I know I think over time I have learned a little bit about the Cameroon coach. I don't know who he's going to play in the midfield, but I think he's going to load that midfield. He's likely not going to play an offensive player. He's going to play another defensive player. And I think the game between Cameroon and Egypt will be won in the midfield.
Yeah, I think, the coach is predictable. He's predictable.
Yes,
of course.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my point. Yeah.
he's gonna play the same players, and then maybe if he can play the same players, the game goes, because it could be a game. You can look at it also from this angle, right? He could play, then they go halftime, it's tied, 70 minutes into the second half. Then he start bringing in those players now, because the players from the bench with fresh legs, Choupo can come and make a difference. Basungok can come in. What's his name? Clinton J can come in and make a difference. It could be that type of a game where players from the bench have a big word or something to say in this game. So it could be
I was very impressed with Poet last game. What's your take on that?
Yeah, he must be one of the players starting.
Okay.
That's one of the three holding midfielders you were talking about.
Yes.
True lion.
Okay.
True lion. True
All right.
lion.
Okay, I get it. Yeah.
With this team, I don't think we have the type of players who can come in and change the game. We haven't seen that since the tournament started with this Cameroon team. I mean, probably because we've been fortunate for the most part. By the time it's second half, we're already leading. So most of the players come in. They just want to protect the victory, and then we see it through 90 minutes. But I don't see players that can actually change the game from the bench on this team.
Yeah, but in this game, I mean, if you fall behind and all that, or if it's 0-0, you're trying to look for a win, you can bring if Choupo-Moting doesn't start, he's a player that can come in and change the game. If I'm sorry?
Apart from Choupo-Moting, Basagok cannot change the game.
Why can Basagok not change the game? Basagok is the only player that can dribble in that field for Cameroon.
He's lost it for me. Somehow he's lost it. He's lost it.
But of course, but he's coming. If he comes in the second half, 20 minutes, 25 minutes to go, you think he cannot make some moves? So far,
I'm sorry, but so far I've not been impressed. I mean, like, you also mentioned Clinton J. Clinton, I mean, what? I
wouldn't want us to dwell a little more on Clinton J. But I mean, I've heard people talk about the Cameroon.
Excuse me, guys. Let me just ask you guys a question, right? Why do you think that the coach has been bringing in those guys to play 10, 15, 20 minutes here and there? Why?
Because he thinks they can change the game.
Okay,
no.
And what the coach thinks and what they have been doing has not been what the coach thinks they can do and what they have been doing have not been matching.
Okay, let me ask you a question, right?
True lion. Let me answer your question.
Yes.
Of all our games, those people have come in when we are 2-0 up. Ethiopia game we were leading. Cape Verde game we have already qualified. Comoros game we were 2-0. No, I'm serious. The last game we were 2-0. So all those games, you don't bring players to come and change the game when you're leading 2-0. You bring them to just come and kill the game. You bring them to kill the game, not to change the game. That's the point I'm making.
No, but you are making a different point. Cameroon was leading, so but the coach brought players.
No, you asked a question. You said why we should answer why he's been bringing them. That's what I'm saying. That for the most part, I can say he has to rest his good players because
hold on.
Players given that opportunity.
Okay, hold on. I asked a simple question. I said, why do you think the coach has been bringing in those players? And Dr. T said that
to rest his main players.
You want to answer the question for me?
You asked a question. I just still talking.
I am
okay, guys. Okay, I have one more question for you.
No, Dr. T. Let me follow through. I'm still talking.
Okay.
When I asked the question, you responded that because he
maybe
he wants to keep the players alert, right? I mean, you have a team of 28 players. I don't know how many players Cameroon took, but you have a team of 28 players. And when you have the chance, even when you're leading, you bring the players to give them that game spirit, to be fit. So a day when you need them, you bring them, they change the game. Okay, in 2017, when Abubakar was not, he had an injury, he was not playing well. What did the coach do? Put him on the bench, right?
Yes.
But Abubakar had been playing. He had not been playing good, right?
Yep.
And what happened in the finals when he came in? He scored a winner, right?
He delivered.
Okay, so football is not mathematics. Football is not mathematics where if a player plays bad on the game, it means that he's going to play bad on the last game.
Okay, yeah. So I actually heard people talking about bringing in Basagok. I think, for those of us who have watched him for a long time, we think that he can do more. And so when he's not doing more, that's when we express our dissatisfaction because he's not playing up to our expectations. So maybe we blame our expectations, but we have to expect that. So one last question before we end the show. So Egypt it's most likely that their first goalkeeper is not going to play. The second goalkeeper was injured in the last game. I don't know if he will play. And also one of the central defender, Hegazi, is injured. How can Cameroon use this as an opportunity or exploit this?
Yeah, against actually try some shots from afar, playing on top of the new guy that comes in, because if you see Abubakar is a guy that has if you look at his movements when he's on the field, he makes about 2-3 movements before the ball gets to him. He's always making the central defenders think. Meanwhile, Toko is more direct. If Toko is hitting that open space, he's just running at it. So the two stars of our strikers will make it very difficult for them. So we should have that inside presence on that new central defender, and then we should try the goalkeeper from the top.
True Lion, I think you got it on these. Abubakar always like to play the shoulder of the last defender. If he can do that, attack the space of whoever is coming in the place of Hegazi, who's probably not experienced as Hegazi and probably haven't had enough game time. If he can attack that space and attack that vulnerability, then I think Cameroon can easily get a goal from that end. But again, it's a game that's difficult to predict.
And Dr.
Okay, guys. So, but I want your prediction now because you guys were quick to give me the prediction for the game between Burkina Faso.
I said Cameroon's winning 2-1. Cameroon's winning 2-1.
Okay, Cameroon winning 2-1. True Lie on you.
I want to say 2-1 too, but I don't want to say 2-1. I want to say 2-0 for Cameroon.
Okay, I think Cameroon will win, and whoever Cameroon plays in the final, they will win the competition. So on Thursday, I'll be putting on my Cameroon shirt, and today I put this on for 13 because Canada qualified for are leading the group, the CONCACAF group, and will be in Qatar in December. I'll be there with them. So looking forward to catching you there.
And let me say this. Have you realized there's a difference between the previous Cameroon teams that have played Egypt with this one? Have you realized the difference?
There have always been differences between the teams because what I've learned. Sorry?
In approach, in style, because this is a more, although you don't say it, this is a team that depends more on offense than defense.
Yes. In the past, but I can also say the team that played in 2017 they really didn't have anyone to defend. Of course, they had the experience in Kulu at the back.
But let me tell you something. Do you know that team is very much better than this one?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Defensively, yes.
No, I mean overall.
Overall was a better team. Overall was a better team. Because Chupo was in good form.
Chupo didn't come to that competition. No, Chupo didn't come. Chupo didn't play.
Oh, yeah, Chupo, yeah.
Forget about Chupo. We had Mukanjo.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I think that's another conversation. Okay, so a Cameroon newspaper described these two guys that you guys have been talking about as the phenomenal pair. So that is Toko Ekambi leading from in front and Captain Abubakar. So we wish them success on Thursday, and tomorrow we will be here for the post-match analysis for the game between Burkina Faso and Senegal. So, gentlemen, it's a pleasure always having you here. So thank you very, very much for joining.
Thank you, Dr. T, and True Lion. Have a good night.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Bechem, and thank you, Dr. T. It's always a pleasure talking football.
Yeah, thank you for the conversation, and see you tomorrow. Today we ran a little bit out of longer than we normally do.
It's a semi-finals, bro.
Yes, it's a semi-finals. Okay, thank you, True Lion. And of course, the discussion was interesting. So see you guys tomorrow after the game. Thank you so much, and have a good evening.